So at the time of this recording, Star Wars Episode 8 comes out in exactly 1 day, so I thought, what better time to make a video about Star Wars? Anyways, given the fact that The Last Jedi is coming out, I thought it would be prudent to make a video detailing a situation that's been bothering me for a while now. I'm not excited. So today's video is going to be why I'm not excited for The Last Jedi. Point number 1. It's all The Force Awakens' fault. Nah, I'm not done quite yet. Now, let's get something out of the way first. I am not saying that The Force Awakens was a bad movie. It's actually a very good movie. It's well directed, well acted, and generally well made, with awesome action pieces and cool nods to the previous trilogies. But there are two parts within the movie that bother me, and I think it's those two reasons why I'm noticeably not excited for the next film in the series. So without further ado, let's start a fanboy war. Point number 1. Rey is a bad antagonist. Oh boy, this one could be a whole video by itself. So I don't like Rey, and no, it's not just because she's a woman. It's because she's a boring main protagonist, and a bit of a Mary Sue. Okay, let's get this one out of the way first. Rey is a Mary Sue, at the very least, a little bit. I could make an entire video detailing exactly how, but suffice to say she doesn't really struggle with anything throughout the movie, and the film doesn't give proper setup to make me, as a member of the audience, believe it. Just as an example, in this scene, Rey says that she's never used a blaster before, remarking, "How hard could it be?" Fast forward 5 minutes, and she outshoots trained military members. Add that to her already stuffed resume of expert mechanic, expert hand-to-hand combatant, expert pilot, and expert force user, all of these without prior setup, and there's only so much that, but she's good with the Force can cover for. The second thing is that she's also a boring main character. I don't mean that she's not entertaining to watch, because she certainly is, but she doesn't have anything for me to connect to. She doesn't have a real goal. In the original Star Wars, Luke is a scrappy kid who wishes for excitement and adventure. His goal is very clearly defined as get more out of life than just sitting there on his dust ball of a planet. Throughout A New Hope, Luke gets exactly that, and struggles with the ramifications of getting his wish fulfilled. Rey, well, I suppose you could argue that her goal is to reunite with her family that left her on Jakku. But seeing as that doesn't have an immediate effect on the plot of this movie, it doesn't really work as a goal. I kid you not, for the first 3/4 of the film, I thought Finn was the main character. Yeah, I thought Rey was part of the supporting cast. And that's because I understood Finn. He had a very clear and understandable goal: escape his oppressive and genocidal regime and survive. And that's a goal that we've seen throughout the existence of film because it works. I felt for Finn, and as he grew from wanting to get away from the First Order to stopping them, I could understand his decisions. Rey just kind of does things because the plot needs her to. She goes from one place to another not because it means something to her, but because the script is pushing her towards that place, and that makes for a very uninvolving protagonist. Now that I've successfully started a flame war, let's move right along. Point number 2. The setting is lame. Okay, before you start yelling at me in the comments, I'm not saying that the Star Wars universe is lame. Are you kidding me? I love this stuff. It's so chock full of weird and amazing things that are so vastly different from our world that you can't help but love all of it. The problem I have with The Force Awakens is that it utilized this setting in the most boring way possible. When I heard that the 7th episode was going to be set 30 years after Return of the Jedi, I was thrilled! I was bouncing off the walls in anticipation. I couldn't wait to see how the Star Wars galaxy had changed and evolved over 30 years after the fall of the Empire. It was going to explore so many things we'd never seen before. But then the film started, and it was exactly the same. They hadn't really changed anything. They used the time skip in the worst way possible. For comparison, let me give you what I consider a time skip done right. The first episode of Young Justice Season 2. In the finale of the first season, the teenage heroes fought against a mind-controlled Justice League, proved their potential, scared the villains off, and all of my ships sailed. Open Season 2, Episode 1, and you've got a 5-year time skip. The team has changed, there are new members mixed in with the old, and the dynamic between the old characters has changed, and the old characters have evolved themselves in new ways, almost becoming new characters onto themselves. The plot is an extension of the first season, but it's not just a copy of the same stuff, it's a natural evolution. And thus is the problem with The Force Awakens. Nothing has changed, nothing has evolved. The Empire, First Order, is still a huge ruling force in the galaxy, and still making Death Stars, Star Killer stations, Star Killer bases. The Rebellion, the Resistance, is still a scrappy little movement working with outdated and patched together equipment. Even the characters seem to have reverted back to how they were when we first saw them in Episode 4. Han is still a smuggler, still making trouble for himself. Chewie is still the dependable co-pilot. C-3PO is still somehow annoying and endearing at the same time. Leia is still the leader of the Rebellion, Resistance. Her and Han's romance is almost retconned. The only way a person who was watching Force Awakens as their first Star Wars film would know that Han and Leia were ever romantically involved is because the movie tells us that they had a kid. It was just disappointing because the cool thing about Star Wars, at least to me, was that it was never the same. Every time I watched or read or played something from Star Wars, it never retread old ground. It always pushed forward, showing me new things, new places, new characters, new concepts. Sure, they would reference or call back to old things, but it never lingered for long, always quick to move on to the next cool thing. But Force Awakens was exactly the same as when I first experienced Star Wars A New Hope. It felt more like a cosmetic DLC than an actual expansion of the universe and its lore, and that was disappointing to me. And it's those two reasons why I'm not very excited for Star Wars Episode 8. Hey, maybe it'll surprise me. I'm still gonna go see it, of course. It's Star Wars. Maybe it'll surprise me. Maybe it'll explain some of the things that I noted in this video. Maybe it'll tie it all together in a nice little bow for Christmas, but at this point, they kind of sucked the fun out of Star Wars for me. At least the movies. I'm still gonna enjoy everything else. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening to my rant. I really appreciate it. I haven't really done a video like this before, so let me know if you like it and if I should do more and what topics you'd like to see. And I'm sorry if the video isn't that great. This was kind of a rush edit before I'm heading home from college later today. Still got to get my packing done, actually. Also, I'm hopefully going to be uploading several more videos over winter break, so please look forward to those. I'm working on a music video for Infinity War to celebrate the new trailer that came out right now. So I think that one will turn out pretty sweet. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.